it drives a lot of people, it drives crazy that there's people like me that do this kind of thing. But the reason is that your brain, from the beginning of time, program, our brain, one answer. Like it, for some people, it's just hard to accept, like, that is not a sunrise. After a while, I started naming my pieces like that, called that is not a sunrise. That is not a flower. You know, those kinds of things just add to it. So that, you know, the answers can be anything as annoying as what you think it is, or you just start. But basically, just so you understand, if this kind of thing is like, what is going on here? It's just because of your left side of your brain going insane, and this is all coming from the right side. So I actually know for a fact that everybody in here is a superb artist. I know that because we all have lived a little bit, and a lot of fantastic art has to do with wisdom. And when I start painting, I'm just going to start to bring things out, and there's nothing I'm going to say today that you don't already know. I also can tell by the people in the room that no one in here just arbitrarily put their clothes on. There was thought behind it. There's fashionistas in the room. There's people that are just, you know, most of you, I mean, have probably loved to decorate your homes. A lot of you probably do art with your grandchildren and just love it, and you just don't really connect it to, maybe I could be an artist too. And one of the things that, hold on, I have to put this down for a second. When I was growing up, let's see if a lot of you were like this. I used to be a doodler. Anybody else doodle? Thank you. I was afraid nobody would raise their hand. When I think back on it, I forgot about it. I honestly forgot about it. And after a career of working and raising people, like, you don't really think about your childhood, but you know how it is when you live long enough and then you start to connect the dots to things from your childhood a long time ago. That's what happens with art. So for my doodling friends, I used to, all of my notebooks, all of them in elementary school, had doodles. And I remember they were just covered with them. When I think back on it, I think it's an anxiety thing, because you're always like in class or just something else to keep us busy. Then I used to take these doodles and color them in. Does anybody else do that? And just start picking? Thank you. I'm not alone. Thank you all. I would do things like this. Sometimes I would stripe them, and sometimes, you know, I would just go on, and most of the time just with a pen, and that's all you need. If you notice, I did this for you today. I have two brushes taped together. Actually, what a lot of artists do in the abstract, or even other worlds, they actually take a stick and they try to get it as long as possible, and they tape it together. You know why? Because most of us have been trained to be really like good people that follow rules, and it's very hard to get loose. So when you put this at the end and hold it at the end, guess what? It's hard to control. So now, when you're with your grandchildren and you're doing things, good trick, right? So instead of just coloring, or a lot of you probably have grandchildren that love to do art. There you go. And I have cheat sheet here. So, and a lot of things also, let's see if you can this resonates with you. I had a mother that was very much, she's still living, I'm not sure if she's dead, but loves fashion. So if anybody in the room loves fashion, that's another hint. I won't ask you if you love to put on your makeup, but you have good taste in putting on makeup. You're not wearing like green and blue. And see, that goes, I know you have the instincts. All of us do, but we forgot because it was just so long ago. Let me just go to my cheat sheet for a minute. And so for many of us, we don't realize that we have an art journey. I certainly didn't. I worked in corporate America, like Rabbi said, for many, many years. It was the last thing on my mind. I just wanted to retire. And like most of us, After raising kids and working, I was just exhausted. Hello, show of hands. I'm just exhausted all the way around. So the last thing I wanted to do, me personally, was to take an art class where someone was actually going to teach me something, because I was just so done, just incredibly done. Now, it's been 10 years now, so it's a little bit different, and I'm willing to listen now. But in the beginning, I just wanted to do something that no one else was like a boss of me, or I felt this heavy, heavy responsibility. And so the first thing you have to overcome is perfectionism. I am willing to bet that if I ask who's perfectionist, most of the room's hands would go up. And on Zoom, I know. And so when you're a perfectionist, or when you want to do the right thing, which all of us want to do, it comes with a lot of rules in your heads that you don't even, you're not conscious of. Be a good girl. If you're going to paint, you have to paint something that people recognize. And if you don't paint the vase and it doesn't look exactly like a vase, I don't want to do it. I can't do it. Or, you know what? I just don't feel like taking a class. Some people do, they like it. But I mean, where would I start? I mean, that's crazy. So I thought today I would just teach you a few little basics. And if it doesn't resonate with you, think about hanging out with your grandchildren and showing this, and I think you're like a genius. I have a granddaughter who's 10, and she's really taken to art just by watching me do things. Hold on. How many times have you gone to a museum? Yeah, and you know what I'm going to say. And you're on the wall, it's worth gazillions of dollars, and it's like a painting like that. Okay. Yeah, we all have. And it drives people nuts. And what you say is, I can do that. I don't get it. What makes Picasso's squiggles better than the ones I just did? You know, that kind of thing. And some of it, I don't know the complete answer. I really don't. But some of it is an example of simplicity. Sometimes it's being in the right place in the right time, if you're that artist. Or sometimes it's because when you look through art history, you know, you see like if you think about Rembrandt, like great portraits of times, then all of a sudden somebody did that, and it was so different that's why that's in the museum. Speaking of which, oops. So I'm purposely, if you see this, it's different than the other one. I'll just kind of squiggle it in. But it's a little bit more interesting. And that is the key right there. If you remember nothing else from today, the key word is diversity. So why do people love a piece of art? Have you ever had a piece of art that you just love and you don't know why? Even if it's something like a realistic, it has nothing to do with being abstract or anything else. I'm willing to tell you right now that the reason you can't stop staring at it is because there's something in that painting that's different than what's next to it. So every single mark, every single color, it only reacts to what it's next to. And guess what? So do we. Think about it. How you're behaving today is probably not how you're behaving when you're in the kitchen with your grandchildren, right? It's probably not how you behave when you're out with your super close girlfriends, and we know what's happening there. Or when you're at a cocktail hour, you know, because we change and adapt according to where we are and who we're next to. Art is exactly the same way. Now watch this. If you look at that, I'd be willing to tell you that it's not as impactful as it was before. There's stuff everywhere. It's a lesson in simplicity. So when you're painting, you don't have to have 20 different things going on, like that painting. You don't have to do that. Even just one mark is sometimes more impactful than when you fill up the canvas. You don't have to do it. And in fact, in most paintings, if you look at them, there's always a resting place where there's not stuff. Like over here, like over there. You have to leave a resting place. Just like ourselves, we always need a soft place to land. So a lot of times when you're in that museum and you're seeing two marks or one thing, that's what it's showing you. That you don't need a lot in life. Things are simple and you can keep it simple. So if you only put two things on the canvas, that can be enough. So when your grandchildren are old enough, not 3, and they got stuff, when you're able to start to talk to them, that might be something that might come up. You look like a genius. Let me see. The second thing that always comes up for anybody in here that's ever had a career in real estate, what's the most important thing in real estate? Location, 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 location. Think about the last thing. If I was going to make another mark, completely different, again, diversity, far away, not in the same place. If you want to put something in the middle, that's awesome. There's nothing wrong with that, but just know that whatever you put in the middle is just going to grab your attention. And good art makes your eye travel around and around and around. It's fine, but again, when you think about diversity and what makes things different in life, that is actually a concept that makes life worth living. When you think about having energy and excitement in life, it's because of what's different. It's the differences that cause the excitement, not anything else. And now you can go back and look at famous works of art and you'll see, whoops, same thing. So here's a trick. If you want to get started, I'm going to put this down for 1 second. I forgot about opening the tubes. No, 1 second. I want to tell you one more thing. If anybody gets inspired from anything I've said today and wants to go and do something or just start, you don't have to spend $1 zillion. I love Home Depot. It's my weapon of choice. I love my kitchen. There's a YouTube online of a woman who has a fantastic art career. She makes flowers with the backs of spoons. Anybody wants to Google that. These are called palette knives. A lot of times you'll see Van Goghs or others that have very thick color, like really looks thick. They're not painting with brushes. They're painting with a palette knife of all kinds. You know the painter that comes to your house? There you go. Oh yeah, the paint store, plaster, Home Depot. So it doesn't mean that's what you have to do, but you don't have to spend $1 zillion. I am painting with acrylic paints, not oils. And so just if you decided to get some paints, you probably want some acrylics. You will be able to get them off your hands and all of your utensils, but off your clothes, not so much. So here's an exercise. If you just wanted to do something, I always relate to grandchildren because I feel like that's all I do. And so you just start by doing light, dark, light, dark. It's different. I'm just making things up. It's kind of a lighted blue, kind of. And then I have a terrible habit. Do not do this. Don't do this. It's like, you're supposed to really put things like on your paper plate and everything. I know you're watching. I don't. I'm a bad person. And that also comes from that I'm tired of playing, I'm just totally making dark. It could be anything. Time for light again. I'm just, again, making things up. Whoops. That's what happens. Let's see. That's because I got purple in there. I shouldn't have from doing this. And if you just keep going, light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, eventually it'll start to look like something. And you'll find it incredibly interesting at some point. For some of you, don't feel bad. It's still like, what is going on over there? I get it. Don't do this. Don't put your brushes in the... I'm just, again, I was trying to make a triangle. It didn't really come out, but you get the gist. If you just kind of keep going and keep going and keep going, that's a great it's a great exercise to just get going. It could be black and white. Of course, anything that is of the same color that you mix with white and it gets lighter, you mix with black or gray and gets darker, that is considered one of the most harmonious things you can do. Hold on. It actually makes you feel much more comfortable. So ever seen paintings like this where it's like one core color? Don't put your colored brushes in the white. And then all of a sudden, next to it, you see a lot of clothes like this too, light denim and dark denim. Why do you think they're doing that? They're doing it because they know it's comforting. Not so much the color as having the same color. I just mixed that with black. And it just sort of, you see plaids like that. So that's another thing. You don't have to buy every color on the planet, but just darkening and lightening, it's the key to diversity. Another thing too is about what color should I start with? Anything you like is right, because you already know in your heart that you have good taste. And the other thing that happens with perfectionism that really stops us from even doing anything is because we're wondering if anybody else is going to like it. Now, maybe it be conscious, it may not be conscious, but that's the biggest thing that I've noticed since starting this hobby, really, is that I'm around other artists now, and I've seen some fabulous, I can't begin to tell you, talented people, but they don't want to show their work. That's okay, you don't have to, but they don't want to. And we all know why, because it's really, really vulnerable to stand and show people like, this is like very scary. So that just gives you something to think about. How much else in your life are you doing that you're not starting and not doing? Because really what you're thinking about is other people will judge you one way or another. At this stage of the game, guys, who cares? I mean, really, the game is almost up. Location director. The other thing that makes, this is just FYI, the painting is very, very interesting are layers, one over the other, over the other. And any artist will tell you that as much as like we're painting things on, it's just as impactful as when you take things away. My greatest tool, no doubt, is paper towels. Sometimes with acrylics at the beginning, you can, if you put something down, you don't like it, you can actually dip it in water and wipe it away right away. Now, once it starts drying, it's going to be tougher and tougher, but you can always paint over it. When I first started, my first art teacher used to say that to me all the time, and it drove me insane. Don't worry about it. You can always paint over it. And I was terrified. What do you mean paint over it? I bet you can. And you learn that over time, that you can paint over it. And a lot of times when you look at, it's the best. There's a wet paper towel. You can do a lot in terms of making shapes, taking it away. I can't tell you, now that you look, when you see pieces of art, I'm telling you, a lot of them use paper towels. That's just the way it is. So I thought, I talked about the tools. Okay. So I thought it might be fun. I have no plan, which is bad. I'm going to bring the canvas up here. 1 second. Oops, disappear for a second. There we go. Yeah, why don't you put it up there? I obviously didn't plan the transition. So one of the things I personally like to do is I hide things underneath my paintings because I know they're there. That stays because I know they're there. So one of the things I do is, like, I did a painting that's in my son's home, and everything I wanted him to know in life is actually written underneath in sharp. I understand. So you're without music on. They go hand in hand for me. So if you know, remember, you can put your ear pods on, no one's going to hear you, etc. Another way for you to get started is, let's say there's a photo that you love. I know you can't see this. Mhm. I knew that was going to happen. I know, but I can make it peek through, which sometimes is more impactful. Where people are looking at it and going, "What is that?" I know everybody gets mad when I do that. Oh, did you notice that that's a stencil? Okay, I want to say something about that. I'm one of the artists, probably a few. I use stencils all day long. If you kind of look at, well, some of them, but you can tell. Now, in anybody's book, when you think about art, you would consider that cheating. Really? Yeah, I know. Because I paint in an open studio at Scottsdale Community Center. Whenever I'm stenciling, I always laugh and I say, I feel your judgment. And to the other artists, I feel it. But it's not the stencil, it's what you do with it and where you place it. What's it next to? What's it underneath? I just love the sharp edges, which, by the way, when you're painting, anytime there's a sharp edge, that's going to show more than like a circular type of an edge. Just FYI. So let me hear more of the, oh, hold on one second. I know. I know. Oops. This is crazy, right? And a lot of times what I do, okay, the moaning is not helpful, but that's okay. I know it's hard to see, but there's a sky over there, and it's kind of like in a triangular format. Then there's some black clouds. 1 second. Okay. Yeah, I know this happens all the time. Again, don't do it. Don't do this. So I'm just marking it off where I see the gray clouds coming in. And at the bottom, it's sort of like a triangle. When you look at it, it's black. Switching. So you get the gist. Of course, anytime you put white on something, this is just to lay it out so I see it. Here comes the sunset. Of course, I'm switching brushes because, you know, when you mix things together, it'll be a mess if you just put it all together. Be careful. I am. But usually the music's blaring, so. No. Okay. Your other best friend is water. Now, if you notice, I'm not even looking at that picture anymore. Because just like you can pick out your clothes and you know when you look good, and your shoes and your makeup, you have taste. You don't have to keep staring at it. Oh, hold on. Do not do this. Oh my God. I know that there's some super artists that's somewhere out there on Zoom and they're just flipping out. So, you know, there's a whole concept of color theory, which is a class in and of itself. I'm not touching color theory, but what I have done is I did a handout with my main points today, and I also stole a handout from an online art kind of YouTube place called Art to Life. He just teaches art, abstract art all day long. He has a wonderful brochure that I stole and copied for you guys. So on your way out, you can grab one on color. So if you're interested, you can read it all about placement and color and his philosophies on certain things. But how are we doing on time? Okay. So I'm going to just, you know what I think would be great is make sure you get that handout. And does anybody have any questions? What would you? Oh, I never thought an abstract artist would get questions. Oh, yeah. I started 11 years ago, right, 10 years ago when I retired. And it's as simple as this. No, I didn't think it through. No, I never thought that I would do such a thing. I am going to circle back to like, you know, remembering things in childhood. And I'm like, okay. But here's, it's the weirdest thing. When I put down my list of things that I wanted to do when I retired, one of them was to be kind of left alone. And the other thing was to be able to eat lunch in a restaurant without being interrupted. Okay, because we always had to get back to the office, got to get back. And I used to stare at other people that were clearly talking to their friends and relaxing. So I just wanted to be able to do something without a deadline at the other end. So I was driving down Camelback and saw I never say it right, the Shemer Arts Center. I was driving somewhere else and I was like, I do not know what that is. And I thought, I'm retired this week. I pulled in, I said, I am going to walk in there. I wandered around and it's a little art gallery. It's wonderful if you ever stop there. And while I was walking, a lady came up to me and said, can I help you? I was like, no, no, no. And she's like, well, I'm an art teacher here. So they have a part of that building where they teach art classes. She said, come on in. So I was like, okay, that's weird. And it was an open studio, which is something for you to think about if you're like me and you don't want to be told what to do. It's, you sign up, you bring your stuff, you sit and paint with other artists. I put my earphones in and the professor walks around and will just ask you questions. So this woman, who was now became my first art teacher, said, you should join this class. Next semester is January. This was November. I was like, okay. I don't know why I said okay. I had no plan. And I just started in January for no reason. And it's weird. It's totally weird. So you don't need to overthink any of this. Somebody else had a question back there. Yeah. Okay. So a lot of times, okay, yeah. She asked, when do you start using the palette knives for thickness? Another word for thickness is also texture, which I didn't address, but is really also super important. That's probably unique to every single artist. There is no rule. A lot of times what I do is I love thick paint. Doesn't mean others. So I actually put on here, it's called gel medium. You can buy it. I didn't bring mine today, but it literally looks like another jar like this. And you go to any art stores, it actually creates bumps and kind of things like that. And I actually put it on first and paint on top of that. And it creates all kinds of things. And so a lot of people would say I waste a lot of paint. That's probably true. So I've seen that, like, where a lot of people are, you know, because it's expensive, you know, whatever. And you don't have to buy the most expensive paint. Please don't if you want to do something. It's not, makes no difference. So a lot of it's instinct would be like, need it. And what you love that look. So you could put something down first and then go on top of it, but it's layer after layer after layer. There's one more thing about abstract artists. I know we have this in common. The big question is, once it's finished, please don't ask me that. The answer is, I don't know. But what I do know is that we're for days. Put it and when you and yeah. No, it's, oh, I'm sorry. It was asked, does it make a difference between tubes and jars? Absolutely not. Generally what it is, like the colors I use the most, it's just, I buy the jars. No, that question is is canvas strictly for oil? No. I'm no expert. I really never painted with oil. What I can tell you, if I'm just painting in the room with people, is that I think the colors are probably more vibrant, but it takes a very long time to dry. And the reason I paint acrylic, I don't have the patience for that. But I mean, probably a lot of the art you love is oil. So, any other questions? Okay, I think that's it. I appreciate your time, big time, for having me.